Not
Hello
literally.
and welcome back to Devils United. This is the greatest managers of all time. Hello everyone, welcome back to Devils United, and we are going to be doing our second part of the greatest manager of all time. With me today, I have got Talk and I've got Reece. How are we both?
Yeah, I'm good. Good. How are you?
Oh well, thanks. How are you, Reece?
I'm fine but sore. What
Do you mean so? That's worrying. What kind of sore are we talking here, Reece?
Bad back, as usual. But that's about it, really.
I didn't know you had a bad back, bro.
Oh, since I was about 13.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's horrible.
Shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
Just had it for a long time.
For everybody who did watch the part 1 of the greatest ever manager, we did pick our top 10 and we narrowed it down to our top 5. We'll go through our top 5 again. Talk, what was your top 5?
My top 5 was Jock Stein, Jimmy Hogan, Bob Paisley, Matt Busby, and Alec Ferguson.
And Reece, who was yours?
Well, I'm not going to do it in that accent because I can't pull it off. Same for me, no particular order. Sir Matt Busby, Sir Alex Ferguson, Josie Mourinho, Rigosaki, Bill Shankly.
Mine was Sir Alex Ferguson, Mourinho, Busby. It was Paisley and Brian Clough. So that was my top 5. Reece said his top 5, and Talk has done his top 5 also. So what we'll be looking at doing in today's episode, we will be narrowing our top 5 down to our top 3. Talk, how hard has it been to think of the top 3 now?
Yeah, it's not easy, is it? You've got to think there's so many different things we've got to take into consideration, but it's it is what it is, and it doesn't in any way, because obviously what we're doing right here doesn't mean that necessarily the person who ever comes out on top is everybody else's. This is just our own. It's going to be our own opinions. I mean, we may not even come to the same conclusion, us three, which is going to be interesting to find out. But yeah, so yeah, for me, the two that I'm going to lose from mine, even though they've done absolute wonders, to be fair, is Stein and Paisley.
What's made you come to the conclusion of getting rid of Stein and Paisley? What attracted you to the other 3 managers compared to the ones you've dropped?
Good question, that, Maisie. I didn't even think of that, to be fair. No, look, I mean, you've got Busby, Jimmy Hogan, and Ferguson. The things that they've brought to the game, in the circumstances that they brought them to the game, and the conditions under which they did what they did, is, for me, it just shines a little bit brighter, in my opinion, than what the others did. I mean, like Bob Paisley, he had, under his rule, he got a lot of his trophies in a third of the time that Fergie got his, blah blah blah, and he did it with like 44 players in all. So he had 44 players in all in everything that he won. So he managed 44 players. So you look at, Fergie and Busby. I mean, Hogan in this conversation is separate because for different reasons. But those two, I think, especially Ferguson, I think he's had a lot more than 44 players in his tenure. So Busby, I don't know the exact figure, but I think it was it was a fair few. But again, for different reasons, his is different to Paisley. And I mean, Jock Stein, listen, the guy did absolute epic things, with what he did. It was quite phenomenal. And again, when we talk about the Scottish League, it's a shame that we have to, kind of, how should we say,
dismiss it.
No. We look at it from a different angle, just simply because it's not got the breadth and depth of the English League. That's all it is. But again, Jock Stein, he won like 10. I think it was 10 Scottish League championships. He was the first to win the European Cup on the British Isles. 8 Scottish Cups, 6 Scottish League Cups, I think. He also managed. I think he managed a little bit at Leeds before then going on to the Scotland job. Again, I don't know what happened. I don't know what he did in the Scotland job from 78 to 85. So I don't know what if he did well in that.
He got us He's the manager that got Scotland to Mexico in '86.
Okay,
prior to he passed away before the World Cup. That's why Sir Alex took over. But Jock's team was the reason Scotland were at '86 World Cup.
Well, listen, I mean, it's quite clear that the guy had, an absolute, what's the word? We say the word genius about a lot of managers, and if that's the case, then we have to apply the same word to Jock Stein or Steen, however you want to pronounce his name. We have to give him the respect that he deserves, and like I said, the only reason being that the Scotland League isn't like it's not as sort of big as the English League in terms of teams and tiers. So that's the only reason I would have to say that I would have to let him go. But I still think he was an absolutely sensational manager. There's no two ways about it.
So when did you come to that conclusion in the end? Did you literally just think last minute, or how hard was it overall just to drop them?
No, it wasn't. No, it's like one last minute. It was like, you got to think about, okay, what is, it's all the elements to it. It's a lot of things, and it's just something that that I kind of, like I say, I found it hard because of what he did, because it was quite an achievement, to be honest with you. And the same for Paisley. I mean, you talk about Bob Paisley. I mean, he did something that was quite spectacular, and we know we did take over from Shankly, who is one of Reece's managers, who Reece will tell us more about. So that will tie into what I'm going to say about Paisley. Wacker's mentioned his 44 players, what he won. He won an awful lot. I think it was 20. He won 20 honours in 9 seasons. So that's a lot. But having said that, so he did take on some foundations that were built. Now, the only caveat to that I would say is, like, you go, okay, well, what's the difficult part about that? The difficult part is always winning any trophy with any team, let alone 20. So that in itself is unbelievable. But also the fact that he takes on the job of having to step up to the plate in terms of what's been laid before him. It's like, yeah, look, the bar's been set now, Bob. Can you do better than that? You know what I mean? And he took it on. He went in and he took it on, and he did. But again, for reasons around what's before and what's after, etc., I just thought, okay, these other 3 managers have done something, in my opinion, a little bit more special. Even though I do have utmost respect for Liverpool as a football club, and also for Bob Paisley, Shankly, and all the other managers at the club. At the end of the day, as much as we don't like Liverpool, we have to respect them. You cannot not respect Liverpool. You have to, because just like Man United, they have always done everything the hard way. They've never had any money like us. All the money that has ever been spent. So when people say to me and call us scum, and I go, hold on a minute. Especially Leeds fans, I say, wait a minute, what's all this word, this scum? What's that about? You buy all the best players and you've got all the money. And I go, yeah, all right. Well, tell me where the money come from. And then they go quiet. They go, yeah, they see, you can't tell me, can you? Because we won it. through being the best. Simple as that. And you don't like it. That's why you call us scum. So on your bike back to Yorkshire, down the 62, I hope you get a puncture. Really? So that's my reasoning behind why I've cut mine down to the three of Fergie, Hogan, and Busby.
3 good choices there. Before we go with Reese's, I've got a couple of comments there, so we'll keep everyone a little bit in suspense about Reese's just for a couple of moments. We've got Solo here tonight. Thank you, Solo, for coming through. I hope you're okay.
Yeah, be up, Solo. You're feeling better, bro.
The part 1 bath time, if you didn't catch it, it is on the channel. We did it last Wednesday, so you should be able to catch it on the stream. It's roughly around an hour's long if you do have the time. Static is here as well. Hello, Static. I hope you're well.
Yes. Shane?
Bath time has said hello as well. Hello, Bath time.
Yes, bath time.
I've got my dad here in the chat saying good evening to all of us. Hello, Dad.
Hello, Mr. Hall. I'm going to call you Mr. Hall, just out of pure respect.
Bath time, no Brian Clough. I had Brian Clough on my top 5. You hadn't have in yours, did you know? Road to Red Devils. Hello there. I hope you're well as well, and thank you for shouting me out on your channel. And also go and check out Road to Red Devils also. Bath time things. The best player manager was Rodriguez. My dad has asked you, Reece, where's your hat?
I'll throw a question back to you. Which one? Because I got 4.
Yeah, which one do you want?
But if you want the signature hat, it's right here. Luckily, I'm well over 6 foot tall. I've got that reach. There you go.
There's his signature hat.
That's the Star Wars hat.
And he's went and threw it away whilst he was at it. Bath time, to be fair, the Scottish League was better after Haysall for a bit, but couldn't compete with the findings of the Premiership. Yeah, we think we did touch on that a little bit, didn't we, on the first stream? I'm not too sure if I remember or not. For Britso, good evening, everybody. Are we going from top 5 to top 3 in the stream? Yes, we will be doing that today, and then next week we'll be narrowing the top 3 to 1.
Overall consensus, we'll be battering each other.
Yeah.
Got Charlie here as well.
Yeah,
hi, Charlie. I hope you're well.
Yeah.
Bath times top 3 is Sir Alex, Brian Clough, and Shankly in that order, with a shout out to whatever Greek guy won the Euros in 2004.
That's a good shout. That Greek guy. I don't even know who the manager was. Bet Reece will know.
Just some guy for Greece.
Yeah,
That's all I know.
Solo, yes, Maisie, Talk MU and Reece. And my dad has said cheers to you and to always wear your hat.
Next time, sir.
Hello,
I've got
Ginge.
Ginge hello to say hello to everyone. Hello to you as well, Ginge. So less of the suspension now for Reece. Who is your top 3? Who have you removed from the top 5?
Who have I not removed? That is the better question. Okay, so my top 5, as we know, was Sir Matt and Sir Alex. You've got 2 Man United reps. You've got Josie, who was pretty much everywhere except the kitchen sink in Liverpool and Arsenal. You also have Saki, who is one of my Italian idols, an amazing manager, redeveloped Italian football in the late 80s. He brought a different approach. And obviously Shankly for the respect for what he did with Huddersfield and what he also did with Liverpool at the time when there was no such thing as the Manchester United-Liverpool derby. It was never really a competitive blood sport derby until the 1970s when we got relegated. So it was never really a problem. It was always sense of mutual respect between both clubs because we were the dominant force. And obviously Shankly rebuilt Liverpool until he left, I believe, in I think Shankly left in 1976, 77. When they won the UEFA Cup. It was his last major trophy, and that's when he realised he couldn't continue leading the team forward, and then he just decided that's it, I've had enough, and he quit.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Bob Paisley got the job. Bob Paisley never wanted it. But as Talk mentioned earlier on, he took it and he ran with it. But Liverpool's greatest manager, I know Paisley won 3 European Cups and he won all that smooth jazz. Aye, no bother. But for me, Shankly's their greatest ever manager for what he did for them. He got them back from the second division and turned them into an absolute juggernaut. And you have to respect what he did there, because it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy what he had to do as well. So I credit that. But my top 3 is very controversial. My top 3, I have dropped Sir Matt Busby.
Okay.
I have dropped Sir Matt, which was very hard. And I'm not gonna lie, that was the hardest one of them all. Dropping Sir.
I feel winded, Reece.
So did I. I feel my life being ripped out of my heart. That was the hardest one. And I've also dropped Bill Shankly.
Okay.
So my top 3, I've gone for Sir Alex, Josie Mourinho, and I've also gone for Rigosaki.
Okay. So what was your reasonings to why you dropped Sir Matt and why you dropped Shankly?
Shankly I dropped purely from the aspect of the sense of what the other guys have done.
Mm-hmm.
Despite what he achieved in, I think it was like 16 years of service as a manager for Liverpool, what he achieved, I look at what the rest did elsewhere, and they transformed a club. Fortunes weren't their best, so he had to go and they turned him around. And it wasn't as easy because obviously he did the similar job, and it was very hard dropping him. And Sir Matt Busby was the exact same. In all fairness, I would drop all these guys right now and declare Sir Matt Busby the greatest manager of all time. I would in a heartbeat. But I look at it and I go with what each other manager had to do. It really is hard dropping those two because they had very hard tasks, very hard. Rebuilt clubs, reshaped clubs. Sir Matt had to do it after losing his players after a tragic disaster that he was also involved in because obviously he was injured. It's not easy dropping these sort of managers. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of questions going, of all the managers you dropped Sir Matt Busby. Believe me, that was the hardest.
There is a question in there already.
Go ahead. I may as well see it now. It was hard. Let me see it. I know. If I had to chuck him in though, I would drop Saki. In fact, you know what? Do I really want to?
No, you can't change your mind.
That's hard. The thing is though, it's between. The funny thing is though, is when I was making my top 3, Sir Matt was the hardest one to drop because he was the last name I got to.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was the last one. I did it in a different order.
Okay.
And he was the last man on my list because I left him till the end because I was really struggling about making the choice. And in the end, I thought, despite what he achieved, and I will never overlook what he's done because what he's done in football is remarkable and it deserves the utmost respect. And I'm not going to track back. I'm not going to run with it because everybody knows I'm a Man United fan. I still have the utmost respect for what he did. I just look at what other managers have done as well, and I think what they've done is just as hard in different environments, dictated by different manners of coaching and management, that they should also be in that bracket. So, with all respect for Sir Matt Busby over 24 years of his first stint, then he came back for 1 year after Wolf McGuinness.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, he is not in my top 3.
Fabrizio, it seems you've done the right choice by keeping the managers who you have kept, and he did say that he did like your top 3. So why did you keep the top 3 you've got? What made you keep these top 3?
Well, I'll go through it one by one. So Sir Alex, pretty much for what he already did. He started his managerial career as an apprentice in East Stirling. And he worked his way up there. He then went to St Mirren, built his way up. It was the only club to sack Sir Alex Ferguson, St Mirren, before he got the job as Aberdeen, where obviously that's where it kicked off. 3 league titles, numerous Scottish Cups. I think he won 3 or 4. He won the European Cup Winners' Cup, beating Real Madrid in Gothenburg, 2-1 in the final. Real Madrid got a penalty, and that wasn't just any ordinary Real Madrid team as well. That was one of the most underrated European sides to ever play the game, and I honestly recommend, if you haven't seen that team, go back and watch some games on YouTube. I have. I've watched a few games back. They should never have been in the Cup Winners' Cup. They should have been in now the European Cup or the UEFA Cup as it was at the time. And obviously after what he achieved with Aberdeen, he broke the dominance that was Rangers and Celtic, which had been done since Hibs. Jock Stein was the manager of Hibs at the time when that happened, by the way. So there's one for you, Talk. He went to obviously manage Scotland, the team that had Dalglish. It had a guy that doesn't deserve his name to be mentioned because he was an absolute arsehole in 95, 96. But yep, Alan Hansen. The team was strong. And he still got us. He still took us on with the World Cup after Jock Stein's passing, which was a shame because I think Jock Stein, the way he played football was attacking football. It was based on the Real Madrid team of the early 50s, mid 50s onwards. That's what he based his style of football on, and it was always the 4-2-4 attack, and that's where we went. We were in that same approach, but also with Scotland, natural. We're going to be a little bit defensive, except back then we actually attacked teams for fun. And then obviously we all know what happened in November 86 until 2013. He went and became the greatest manager to ever manage in the game. He's 26 and a half years as a Man United manager, 38 major honours, managed well over 3 decades in management. Not really anybody can say that. Not no one can. That I can think of. He's went and done this, and you think. And now you're seeing people slandering him all over social media, and I'm like, give yourselves a wobble, you absolute cretins. Seriously, give yourself a wobble. But everything he's done, last week I got questioned because I said in my top 10, I never included one manager, but he did work for it, was Arsene Wenger. I never included Wenger in my top 10 because the other managers I named had a bigger impact on the game, but he also changed the way we play football in the English game. But so did Sir Alex Ferguson. Sir Alex Ferguson did that in the 80s. He was transforming an entire football club from the ground up that had been in disarray. And through no fault, that was just how things were. He had to do a lot of things, including cancelling the drinking culture. That would have been difficult for any person because everyone likes a drink that played football. Everyone likes a drink. So you have to neutralise that argument. And he done that, and he won 13 league titles. The amount of FA Cups he won, I think he won 4. He was the first Man United manager to win a domestic double. He was the first Man United manager to win the treble. He was the first Man United manager to win 2 European Cups. He deserves all of that credit, and he changed with the times as well. He constantly evolved these teams to fit with the time, and that shows why he deserves to be in the bracket for the greatest, because he's the best. He's the best manager to evolve as well. That's something you need. Moving on, because obviously I want to get to Maisie's choices. So moving on, Josie Mourinho. Just to quote Gary Neville, because Gary does sometimes speaks facts. Sometimes he just speaks pish, like Harry Kane, for example. But he did make one comment that is an absolute fact, and this is the best way to sum up Jose Mourinho. In the past 20 years, other than Guardiola, Jose Mourinho has been the most successful and best manager in football. He's had a few blips here and there, bit mad times, as any manager goes through. But you can't really dismiss the success he's had since his first major job at Porto. Went to Chelsea, won them their first league title in 50 years. Obviously with Porto, he won a treble in his first season. He won the league, the Portuguese Cup, and he won the UEFA Cup. No Portuguese teams ever won a treble. He did that. He then won a European Cup and league double in his final season. And then you've got, obviously, he won the then Carling Cup, beat Liverpool in his first season. Then he won the league. Then the following season he won the league. Then he won the FA Cup. Then he walked. He went to Inter, won them 2 league titles. He won the treble. Went to Barcelona, won the Copa del Rey in his first season. Beat Barcelona in extra time. Then he wins the league with record points and record goals scored. He then leaves, comes back to Chelsea. Champions League semi-final in his first season. He loses to runners-up Atletico Madrid. Wins the league the following year. He wins the League Cup as well in the same season. Comes to Man United, wins 3 trophies if you include a dinner plate. And he's done all that, and now he's shaping things back up in Roma. So it's hard to ignore Josie Mourinho for that standpoint, for what he's done. Yes, he is a bit of an egotistical asswipe, but he is box office. And then lastly, my final choice is Rigosaki, because when you think of Saki, you think of one thing. You think of the all-conquering AC Milan team from 1988 onwards. That team changed Italian football forever, because they played the offside trap, the high back line. They brought in, Trapattoni was the first Italian manager to use a total football type style, but Saki brought it to a more attacking way in a 4-4-2, not a 3-1-4-2 that Trapattoni did. So Saki did it differently, but he added something to it. He had a little bit of Italian panache of, we're going to go for it, but instead of being defensive, we're going to attack teams, we're going to dominate, we're going to play a way that's going to make fans want to come and watch the game. And they did, and it speaks for itself. They won the first European Cup, they won 4-0. I believe that was Steaua Bucharest. And then the following year, they played Benfica. Rijkaard scored the only goal of the game. They only scored the one goal of the game, they won 1-0. And he transcended football. So he went and managed Italy, which he lost in the World Cup final in '94. Sadly, a few things didn't go well for him in terms of international football, but when you look at what he did, though, I put him in the bracket of great. Not just because of what he did for Milan, but when we spoke at the end of last week, I said the one thing I'm going to do, based on my criteria, is impact on the game. And I was up front with that. I had so many criteria for each one. And the one that I knew for impact was 100% Rigosaki. Because he changed how Italian football was viewed. Because it was all defensive. It was all get a goal and defend. He changed that. And if you want a perfect example, AC Milan 5, Real Madrid 0. It's the perfect example. It's a perfect example of what he did as a manager. 4 years in charge of AC Milan, and he won everything. That's why he's in my top 3.
Great. Thank you for that explanation. Before I go on to mine, I've got a few comments on here, and I'll go through them quickly. Got for Fabrizio saying Steve Bruce, number 1. I'm sticking with my choice. Fabrizio, please stop.
I think that's Big Phil. I think it's Big Phil.
Bath time. He has also won the Bundesliga with a promoted team. Rich, as in the chat. Hi, Rich. I hope you're well.
Yep.
And we've also got Nippon here as well. Hi, Nippon. I hope you're well. Yeah, as my dad has said, he's not happy that you have dropped Sir Matt.
Still got respect for him, but yeah, don't worry.
Nippon, big up, Maisie, Talk and Reece. So with you dropping Sir Matt, does that make him 4th or is he 5th?
He's 4th. Shankly's 5th.
Oh, and what's yours, Talk? Who's 4th and who's 5th for you?
4th and 5th. So I would go 4th would be Paisley and then Stein.
Great. Perfect. That's great.
Gary's actually impressed. I'm giving Jock Stein credit. just because just remember I support Rangers, but I do have a little bit of respect for some people.
Fabrizio is also happy with Reese's choices. Bath time here, mate, and that's exactly what you was talking about as well. Nippon, this is from all teams, so it's from any era, a greatest ever manager. So it's not necessarily Manchester United. It can be like a Real Madrid manager, for instance, or it could be like Reece has done. He's done managers from Italy as well, and Talk has mentioned in the past and different managers too. They don't have to be from England. They don't have to be from the Premier League. It just can be varied. We got here from Fabrizio. Jose has won it everywhere he's been, except at Spurs. But let's be real, not even Jesus can help Spurs win a trophy. But don't forget, they won the Audi Cup. Don't forget
Not
that one.
not under
Don't
him though.
forget the Audi Cup. It was under Poch, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Is it the Aldi or Audi Cup?
Audi.
It's like Audi. It's like the car Audi, isn't it?
The B-Tech German company, because we all know Mercedes is clear.
Oh yeah, you know that Mercedes are clear. I've got a Mercedes, Reece.
So do I. Well, my dad does, but yeah, I'll be taking it eventually.
Bath Time has said, Sir Alex also subbed off Smyko for Honey Monster once.
Yes, he did actually, and I'm not getting into that one.
Nippon, how much have you raised so far? Yep, so currently I am on £45 for Breast Cancer Now. If you do want to donate to Breast Cancer Now, the link is in the description. And please also go like and subscribe to me. When I did last check, I'm on 240 subscribers. So it's coming along very nicely. And thank you for the continued support. Thank you very much.
I'll donate after the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nippon has asked you a question there as well, if you want to explain it.
Ooh, Nippon. All I'm gonna say is I want to describe it in the best way possible. I honestly can't without swearing, and this is a good stream, so I'm not going to swear. Hopefully,
if it's gonna be a swear word, do the alternative word like poo.
Or I can just say you're better off just looking up online, because if I have to describe it in such a way, I'm sorry, but I have to, and I'd rather not. So
okay.
Nippon, I recommend looking up online. You'll laugh. It comes in handy. Although I prefer just calling people cockwombles.
Is that a Scottish word?
Scottish and Irish.
You see in there already, Gary giving the praise to Reece, and Gary is in the chat. Thank you for tuning in, Gary.
Rangers are still better. Sorry, I got a tickly throat there. Sorry, I got a tickly throat.
Bath Time has said the only thing I'd say against Ferguson is his pride over the Rock.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes, that is a very fair comment. Yes, I agree.
You can't have Jose in there. He's amazing. Won back-to-back Premier League titles with us.
With us? When he says with us, who does he mean?
He's a Millwall fan, but he likes Chelsea.
He means Chelsea, but he's
hold on. You can't listen. If you didn't,
I don't know how it works.
It's one or the other, mate, isn't it? It's one or the other. But I'm sure that's Big Phil. I don't understand the difference. Big Phil was
I don't know how things work these days. I don't know. I'm out of touch with things these days. Nope.
Did anyone put Pep in their top 5? No one put Pep in their top 5.
Do you want me to tell you where Pep Guardiola actually is in my top 10?
Go on, let's hear it.
9th. And I am not joking. My 10th is funnily enough, my number 10 is Giovanni Trapattoni.
And Bath Time, he got bailed out by a volcano for his Italian treble. People are questioning about Fabrizio supporting Millwall.
My teacher was stuck in Iceland when the volcano happened. We were celebrating that the twat wasn't coming back, although he eventually did.
Don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you, Rich, for your support. Does mean a lot. How could I forget about the Audi Cup? They beat Bayern, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
It's just the Audi Cup, which should not even be mentioned. And my dad said, just say Liverpool.
Is that your answer to cretins? Hey, that's a good point. That's a very good point, Mr. Hall. Mr. Hall.
So it's my turn now for the top 3. And
popcorn time.
Popcorn time. I got my sweet and my salty popcorn. Which one do you prefer?
Too far. Get straight to sweet.
It's been absolutely very difficult, and it literally got me to the last minute of who I'm dropping.
Reiterate your top 5 again. Reiterate your top 5 one more time.
The top 5: Sir Alex Ferguson, Josie Mourinho, Sir Matt Busby, Brian Clough, and Bob Paisley.
And your top 3.
My top 3. Drum roll. My top 3. It is Sir Matt Busby, Sir Alex Ferguson, and Brian Clough. And to be honest, it was very, very hard for me to drop Jose Mourinho. And even to the last 2 hours of the stream, I was thinking to myself, wow, I cannot drop Jose Mourinho, but I can't drop Brian Clough neither, because when you look at Jose Mourinho, he has basically won wherever he has been, any club, kind of Spurs, but it doesn't matter about Spurs. He has won, like you say, he's won the treble in Portugal. You have basically touched on a lot about Jose Mourinho, and what I did like about Jose Mourinho, he did have his highest win percentage. I think it was at Porto, and his win percentage, it was very high. His win percentage, it was 71% win percentage at Porto, and you just look at that and you'll go, wow, that is massive. You're just looking at it, you think, only 29% of his games at Porto he has lost, and you just think, absolutely brilliant. He's won these trophies there at Real Madrid as well. He's won trophies at Chelsea. He's also won trophies at Manchester United. He's won trophies at a lot of clubs, also at Milan, also, which Reece has. Was it Milan?
Inter,
yeah. I was there thinking, yeah, he was at Milan. But I was thinking, I hope I'm not wrong here. But yeah, he won at Milan also. And you look at how many trophies he's won, and as a manager, he's won 25 trophies as a manager overall. And you do look at that and you go, absolutely incredible. And you think, not many managers can pull off winning 25 trophies, really. And you just love, even though with Jose Mourinho, once he left Manchester United, he did irritate me that little bit with how he was reacting about the club. You do look at me and think, you do love Jose Mourinho for the career he's had, what he's done, how he has changed football as well. So for me, it was very hard to drop Jose Mourinho. Bob Paisley, I dropped him for the reason that, yeah, he did do brilliant. He won the Champions League. He's won the Premier League at Chelsea. At Liverpool. And I believe as well with Bob Paisley, he was as well, including with Ancelotti, he was one of the 3 managers to win the Champions League 3 times. And you do look at that and you think, that is absolutely incredible as well, knowing only 3 managers has done that, including Ancelotti, who was in my top 10 initially.
Same here.
You think, absolutely brilliant.
He was also the first British manager to retain the trophy.
Exactly. He did have a good win percentage also there at Liverpool. 57% he had as that win percentage at Liverpool, which is a very good percentage to win. He's won the majority of his games. It's more wins than losses, which is a good thing, obviously. Won 13 trophies overall, and did touch on about with Bob Paisley, he done it under 44 players. I found it even him very hard to drop as a manager also, knowing that he did bring that success over to Liverpool. But you do look and you think, Bill Shankly, he did build that team up, and you've got to give that credit to Bill Shankly, which he has done. For me, I just feel like there was just them little bit of bigger impacts with Sir Alex Ferguson, with Sir Matt Busby, and also for Brian Clough, as to why I couldn't drop either 3 of them.
So I'm going to ask you then, obviously based on your top 3, because you've asked us the same question. So
yes.
We already know pretty much why Sir Alex and Sir Matt gets in for you. If I was completely biased, my top 3 would just be, if I was completely biased and I just looked at things, it would be Sir Matt Busby, Sir Alex Ferguson, and Bill Shankly. That would have been my top 3 if I actually looked at from a biased perspective. You know, Saki's one of my all-time favourites. But I put unbiased in the sense of I had to include what Josie and Saki did. contrast to what Sir Matt obviously did in Bill
Mm-hmm.
Shankly. So why does Brian Clough get in the top 3 for you? What is it about Brian Clough, considering what he's achieved as well, which deserves a massive amount of credit?
Mm-hmm.
Why does Brian Clough get in your top 3 ahead of the likes of Paisley or
Josie Mourinho.
Josie Mourinho or Bob Paisley? What does Brian Clough have that was the reason that you chose him?
That's a very good question. And for me, it was just more, I was looking at like Bob Paisley, I was looking at Josie Mourinho, everywhere where they've done it, the clubs they've done it at. And you look at Brian Clough, he won the Premier League at with Derby. He won the Champions League and the Super Cup also with Nottingham Forest. If you look at managers in this day and age, even in before era, you wouldn't see many managers winning the Champions League twice with Nottingham Forest. For me, he just felt like he'd done the basic impossible in my eyes. And you do look at like other teams, Liverpool, what was already built up for Bob Paisley, even though he'd done that success. You look at Jose Mourinho, he come into very good teams, in my opinion. He come into a very good Real Madrid team. He come into a good Milan team. He come into a good Chelsea team. He come into a good Manchester United team, and he brought in very good players also. But Brian Clough, you just look at it and you think, wow. I just think, literally, wow, and how someone can. I look at it and think, no, Nottingham Forest winning the Champions League. If you was told that and you did not know that, you'd think this is a championship team. How have they won the championship?
Yeah.
And he basically done that impossible for me, and that is why I had to include him into my top 3, even though he's only won 10 trophies overall, even though his win percentage at Derby was 47%. It just felt like, for me, he could not get that honourable mention in my eyes. And I do give that big honourable mention as well to Bob Paisley and to Jose Mourinho for their career, because it is both of them absolutely incredible career.
I agree. I think that's very fair. And I think here's another thing as well. And I said this on last week's show, and a few people replied in the live chat because I think they agreed. Is you can have great managers without measure levels of success, because you can still class a manager as great even if they don't have, like, say, 10 league titles or 10 major trophies. You can still achieve greatness by doing something that's monumental in the game. So 10 trophies or not, who cares? Like, it's a very fair shout. He's probably the best manager England have produced, other than maybe Alf Ramsey or Bobby Robson. Other than that, he is the standout character as well, which is something a manager did at times need. So, no, I completely agree. I don't think I got him. I said on the last show, because him and Wenger didn't make my top 10. But I still recognise their achievements, and they were just outside it. And it's because of what they did in football. They still have that respect and that aura in the game. That's why it was hard choosing these lists. And obviously, we went through it in depth. But no, I completely understand and respect that choice, and I can see why you would choose Clough ahead of the likes of Mourinho and Paisley. I completely see that. So, talk your thoughts on that.
He literally brought history for Nottingham Forest. Imagine being a Nottingham Forest fan under Brian Clough, getting that Champions League nights, getting to the Champions League final, winning the Champions League, and you just, for any club, you think, absolutely incredible, I've won the Champions League. But for the likes of like Nottingham Forest, who you wouldn't even class them as a very good team, for them to win the Champions League, you do think, you get that even more excitement, you get that even more adrenaline. And even when I'm looking at Brian Clough's history as a manager, you just think he impacted Nottingham Forest and Derby in ways what I don't think not a lot of managers could really do. Because if you look at the likes of Pep Guardiola, could he ever have done that at Nottingham Forest? Could he have ever done that at Derby City? Like Derby County, sorry, Derby.
Of course he couldn't.
No, he couldn't. He couldn't do that.
He wouldn't have the
Brian,
ball to do it.
he done the actual impossible, and for me, no question of him being in my top 3 when I look at it now. So, is everyone happy there with their top 3? Talk, you happy with yours?
Yeah, of course.
Reece, are you happy with your top 3?
I'm still conflicted over choice, obviously. But if there's one thing I'm not, is I'm not going to cower away from my point of view. So, and I still give respect where it deserves, and at least I can back my points up on that ground. But yeah, I'm still happy with my top 3. I'm still happy.
Brilliant. I know some people here have been putting their top 3 in, so everybody who is currently watching, put your top 3 in, and then we'll have a think as well, have a little look. I'd love to see what everybody else's top 3 is here. We have got a couple of comments here, and I know that there is a question from Nippon. Would both of you have put them there? What would you think? Would you have put this manager here, Talk? What would you think?
To be fair, I don't really know enough about him, if I'm honest with you, but I don't think he could be quite mentioned in this list. I don't think.
No, it's too early.
And I wouldn't have put him in my top 10 at this moment in time.
I'll go on record to say I think he's the best right now. I think he's the best manager right now in terms of coaching and all that, for what he did at Bayern, now what he's doing at Germany. I think he is the absolute best. But Hansi Flick should not be in a conversation of greatness just yet. He's only been a professional manager for about 2 or 3 years. He won the treble in his first season. Got sacked. He did get sacked last season, but no, I'm not putting him in that bracket.
I completely agree. I wouldn't put him in the top 10 at this moment in time. He is a very good manager, but I don't. It's harder where I would put him right now, but I wouldn't put him as one of my favourites at this moment in time.
It's too early.
Bath time, shout out to Clough. Great, the best manager England has produced. Yeah, I got him here as my top 3. I'd quite like to hear the thoughts on Big Sam Allardyce. I think he's underrated, and his Bolton was the maddest thing the Premiership has seen. Do you want to touch on that a little bit there, Reece?
I think he's shit. Next.
I was just thinking, wait a minute. This has got to have like a lull at the end. But I didn't see the lull, and I'm thinking, yeah, bath time. Listen, Big Sam has got a great understanding of how not to get beat, but that's not enough to make you a great manager, because great managers know how to not get beat, but then also how to take advantage of teams who have got that mindset and then go and beat them. That's what the definition of a great manager is. It's like solving the impossible puzzle. They do it. So for me, listen, Sam's got far too much money anyway. So.
He done good at Bolton, but I genuinely do not care about Sam Allardyce. I'd rather watch paint dry.
For Britso, where would you rank Sean Dice? He's like the English Simone for me, top 10.
I'm not even going.
Stop it, bath time.
I'm not even going to.
Stop it. Stop. Why am I saying stop it for Britso? I know what you're doing. Just stop it. Bath time. I like Sean Dice. To be honest, apart from Brewster and maybe Ole, the level of coaching in the Premiership is probably the best there is at the moment. Are you missing out on Arteta? How can you rate Arteta?
No one rates Arteta.
What about he has also had a pint of wine when he met to show. Okay, fair enough. I think most people rate Dice as most people dread playing Burnley. Burnley's just a horrible side to play, in my opinion. I wouldn't. How do you feel about playing Burnley, Talk? Because I dread playing Burnley just because of the way they play.
Well, I mean, listen, I actually do quite like Sean Dyche, if I'm honest.
I like him as a manager. I think he's a cool kind of manager. It's just a shame he's at Burnley.
He knows his limit. Listen, he knows the limitations of his team, and for me, a manager who knows his limitations of his team and gets the best out of them at most 90% of the time tells me that Sean Dyche would probably, he's got bigger aspirations and bigger ideas. And the time will come when he does go off to another club where he gets the chance to actually show, look, I'm not just a defence and, break merchant. It's there's more to it. There's more to him than that. And I believe there is. Because when you listen to him talk about the game, he's so intelligent. He knows, he absolutely understands the game inside out. And so, I mean, playing Burnley is, it's always a tough game. They make it just so difficult. They're really physical. They're in your face. They're not going to make it easy for you. They're not going to roll over at any point. Even if Burnley had won the league by 20 points clear, right, last game of the season, they'd still play the same as if they were playing to save themselves from relegation. That's just what Burnley are about. And you have to give Sean Dyche credit for that, for getting players in that mindset of you give it 100% and fight for every point that you get in this league, because it's the hardest, the greatest league in the world. So you've got to give him some credit.
I completely agree. They say Sean Dyche is the Ginger Mourinho. Have you heard that nickname?
Yeah.
Would you go back to call him Ginger Mourinho?
He does eat gravel for breakfast. I heard him say. It's great. I eat gravel for breakfast, but it comes under the name of what do you call it? What's it called again? I've got it there in the thing. What do you call it? What do you have for breakfast? All the bits and pieces are in it. All the crunchy things and nuts and
crunchy nut.
No, like dried things and
muesli.
That's him. That's him. Yeah, he was a good right back him. Good right back muesli.
Fabrizio, surprise.
Nope.
Not one had to. Yeah, Bobby Robson. He was. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back now.
Yeah. Fabrizio said, surprised no one had Sir Bobby Robson in their top 5. It was very hard. I actually didn't even have him in my top 10. I don't think any of us did, if I'm mistaken.
He was a great manager. There's no two ways about that. He was a fantastic manager, and I just think there's other names that are worthy of a mention before his, unfortunately.
Gary has said Brian Clough did it with an unglamorous team. Yeah, basically, right word there. Bath time, he also got McNeil, who should never have left Man United. Fabrizio, people dread playing Burnley because there's always a chance they'll never walk again.
Well, like I said, they're physical, and they don't shy away from the tough.
Do you know, I was getting it as in Liverpool. Because they beaten Liverpool's home unbeaten record.
I see. All right, is that what it is? I don't know if you mean that or that. I don't know. Let us know, Fabrizio, what you mean.
I thought it was on about Liverpool.
Yeah.
My dad has said, fantastic GOAT shows, very good by all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall.
Static has said, good show, guys.
Big up, Static. Shane.
Fabrizio wanted to know what my dad's top 3 was.
Hey, that's a good point, yeah. What's your top 3, Dad? Mr. Hall, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, Dad. You have some pocket money, Dad.
Richard said Burnley might be going down now as Newcastle has got lots of cash.
Well, listen. I think Burnley took over, didn't they? Was it this season? The summertime, something like that. So I think I think there's going to be a few teams now who are going to have to, owners are now going to have to live on the, how should we say it, on the billionaire's breadline. So rather than taking out any kind of profits of X amount, they're going to have to cut that down drastically if they want to try and compete. But again, like I pointed out once before about this Newcastle business, it's not just about money. Football, you've still got to have the right mentality, the right attitude, and a really great manager. Doesn't matter how much money you got, if you ain't got those things, you ain't winning nothing.
For Bristol, my top three: Bruce, Warnock, and Dice. Stop it for Bristol.
Listen, Neil Warnock is such a. Do you know what? I love to listen to him talk. Neil Warnock, I do, because again, he's another one who's like talk about football, mate. He's like the encyclopedia of football, and he understands the game, blah blah blah. And they've got their specific, like they become really comfortable with what they know works, and they've done not strayed away from that. So we don't know if someone like Neil Warnock or Steve Bruce and Sean Dyche, like I just said, if they were given a war chest and a pre-season with really really top quality players, it'd be interesting to see with one more manager in there who's in that kind of bracket to see like Allardyce, right? Imagine those four having a little mini league and seeing how it'd turn out, right? That'd be interesting to see, because I don't believe all of them would just stick to what they know. There would be someone like Dyche who I believe would like David Moyes. David Moyes has adapted himself quite well at West Ham. He's evolved. So I think Sean Dyche is one of those managers. Warnock has had many opportunities to do that, but he's never done it. He's always stuck to his guns. Bruce, well, I think I'm going to get sacked by Newcastle, but my 1000th game at not only listen. They got me bloody head kicked in, wouldn't they? Up at Newcastle, but I'm going to walk away with £8 million in my pocket. Happy days. That's Bruce. So I think, listen, they're not in the kind of brackets we're talking about, unfortunately.
Bath Time Stephen, Martinez, and Shearer. Is that your top three managers, or are you talking about players? What are you talking about?
What? Yes, Sven. That's obviously Ericsson. Martinez is Roberto, who's what's he ever done? I don't understand that. Alan Shearer got Newcastle relegated.
Hopefully it was a joke. Hopefully it's a joke.
Yeah, of course it was. He went down with Newcastle, didn't he? So
so drum roll. My dad's top threes now.
Yeah, come on then. Let's have a look.
Sir Alex, Sir Matt, and Josie.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah.
And did you want Josie to stay at United? From my dad. My dad said at the time, yes.
I didn't. That's where we're at loggerheads, Mr. Hall, Dad, because no, listen, Jose he didn't realise he was digging himself into a hole. And he
was just losing that respect in the dressing room, wasn't he, nearer to the end?
Well, listen, I know something for a fact, because I know an ex-player from Man United who's still playing in the Championship. He was offered a contract by Jose to extend, but he decided not to. He went to Preston North End because he thought he was going to be going there to play under what's his name? He managed Leeds. His name will come to me now. Anyway, but once he'd signed, that manager then moved on. He went off to Middlesbrough, and then it became that Neil bloke who's there now. And so, but I know for a fact that when Josie turned up, because I asked him, I met this guy in Leeds of all places, and I said, "Yeah, look, what's he like? What's Josie Mourinho like?" And he said, "Nobody likes him." He said his attitude stinks. He's just so he thinks he's so way above everybody. He changed so many things around the youth setup, the reserve teams and the first team. They used to be able to go from one room to another between them all. But Jose went in and said, "What's going on here? You can't. No. And he had it all blocked off and bricked up. And he said, "No, the youth team is the youth team. You do not get involved with the reserves. Reserve teams, you don't get involved with the youth or the first team. First team, you don't get involved with either." Right? He wouldn't have none of that. And when it came to telling people and players about when they're playing and what their position is at the club, he wouldn't do it individually, nicely in an office. He did it in a big room, and he didn't even. He would just shout out names and say, "Blah blah. I don't need you. Get in touch with your agent." blah blah. I don't need you, and blah blah. And this, and it was just like, you know, it was a total change that the whole club had been turned on its head, you know, and that's coming from a player who's been there since he was 8, so he knows the club inside out, and he knows. And he actually said at the time, he said, it's not going to last, it's not going to work. And I said to him, I said, mate, it's to me, if you're coming in doing that, I said, how are the board even allowing that? Why are the board even allowing this kind of behaviour? It's crazy. But again, it's because of the respect that the board had for him and the owners of what he'd done and what he'd achieved. And it was all on a kind of, you know, like a kind of a hope, wing and a prayer, really, that he was going to bring everything he brought to everywhere else at the club. But obviously, like I said, he dug himself a massive hole, and he only realised that he'd dug himself a hole when all the earth started to fall back in on him and he started to get buried in it. That's when he realised, but it was too late by then.
Fabrizio has said Thomas Tuchel is the best German coach at the moment. 100% win record with the national team. I think he's on about Roberto Martinez, maybe. I'm not too sure who's on about.
Tuchel, hold on. I don't want to get this
Tuchel is the best German coach at the moment.
I don't get that. I mean, listen, he's done. What did he get? What did he win? Did he win the Champions League at PSG? No, he didn't.
No, he didn't win the Champions League at PSG. I think he won pretty much everything else, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But he didn't win the Champions League and he got sacked. He come to Chelsea. In 6 months, he's won the Champions League and he has won the Super Cup.
So, but we all know, I don't care, I'll argue this point with any football person. We all know that Champions League final would not have turned out the way it had Pep not done what Pep does, which is overthink it.
If he didn't have that defensive, if he had a defensive midfielder, I think it would have been a whole lot different. It
would have been a whole lot different, because just look at what happened when the goal got scored. Zinchenko was way out of position because there was nobody else there to drop back and get into that position to read what was happening, and that's where they scored, Chelsea. And you know what? Like you said, if he'd have had Fernandinho on there, would that have happened? No. Wouldn't have happened, because Fernandinho would have been reading that and he would have been telling players, whoa, what are you doing right over there? Why are you over there? Get over here. He would have been telling players, because you go back and watch that goal. Zinchenko's way out of position. He's just miles and nowhere. And it was him who tried to scurry across to get in front of him, but he couldn't. And then they went and scored. So, and after that, did they really cause City that many problems, really? You know?
It was mostly City trying to score.
Exactly. So there you go. So for me, Pep lost the final because of his choices. Chelsea, in my opinion, didn't go out and win it. You know, Pep gave it away. Simple as
that. King Tony's here. Great stream, legends. Thank you, King Tony.
Yeah, King. Big up.
We got Scrumpy here saying hi to everyone. Hi, Maisie, Talk and Reece. Hi there, Scrumpy.
Whenever I see that name, I always want to start talking like that. You know, right down wherever it is where they drink cider. You know, like, you've been in one field, have you? Hey. Where's that fella gone from that funny place up there up north? What's his name? What's his name now? That lad. I think we had too much cider. Feel a bit. Reece, where you gone there?
Reece, there you go.
What's up, folks? What have I missed? Sorry, I had to do a few things. My apologies.
I'd say what we missed, but I'm not too sure.
That's not what I meant.
Got Ginge here. It's a good stream, Maisie. Thank you there, Ginge.
Yes, Ginge.
King Tony, top 3 bag of poo, Poch, Arteta, Southgate. So we've got a couple of more here. My dad agreed with you. Yes, I agree, Talk, but he's a serial winner. That's fine. Yeah, Bath Time has said, I think the physio incident changed Jose. He started to distrust everyone, not just in the first team squad.
Well, I think what that was, we'll just talk about that quickly, because what happened there was this. That was the moment where Jose would do what he does, Jose, as a manager. But then what he didn't see coming was the fact that the players, the relationship they had, I can't remember the lady's name, but the relationship the players had with this lady was really, really strong. They really, really respected her. They loved her, blah, blah, blah. And when that happened, I think that was a moment where Josie, he wasn't expecting that kind of reaction. You know, I think it was a bit of a shock to him. And what he couldn't do was he could not back down to the players. He had to stand firm. And in standing firm, I believe that's why it all went down south on him. You know what I mean?
We'll finish off with this final question, which my dad had. Question: how good do you think the 1958 team would be if, obviously, the Munich disaster didn't happen?
Well, let's put it this way: it was an average age squad of 21. Real Madrid won 5 league titles on the bounce. They beat us in the semi-finals. Put it this way: we would have beaten that. I reckon we would have won 5. We would have won like 5 or 6. Maybe not in a row. Maybe we would have won 4 or 5 in a row. Maybe. The Spanish team at the time was fantastic, but I look at the way that squad was, the way we were coached, the way we were playing football, how young the squad was. 100%. I would say, I would honestly go on record saying that would be not just the best British team of all time, but probably the best team to ever go into Europe.
It would have been
the only other team with Real Madrid. The only other team that comes close to Real Madrid.
The individual brilliance in that team was, and this is why it was an absolute.
It was minimal. It was more of a team than individual brilliance.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. As a team, but also with that as well, the individual brilliance working as a team together. It was never a case of, it's just going to rely on this, that, or the other. No, but so that team for me would have been like, wow.
So it was the only Man United team that was ever loved by mutually as well. There was a mutual adoration for that team. No other Man United team have had that mutual adoration from fans. Just that one. But here's another thing as well, and here's a common point. Bobby Moore, who I happen to share a birthday with. Funnily enough, I didn't know that until a couple of years ago. Bobby Moore, had Munich never happened, would never have been the England captain that won the World Cup in '66. It would have been Duncan Edwards.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a point, isn't it? Yeah.
It would have been Duncan Edwards.
Duncan Edwards was, like, by all accounts and what I've read and what I've seen and what I heard my dad talking about him before he died, it not just him, but the whole team. He said you would just sit there and you with your mouth open, thinking, what this is, you shouldn't be doing this. This is what other managers were saying as well of other teams. You can't do that with the ball. You can't do that. You can't do that. It's impossible to do what they're doing. And you know what? This is partly one of the reasons why Matt's in my top 3. So I'm not going to say any more about it. I'll wait.
I wouldn't even need to, even though I didn't put him in the top 3, I don't think putting that sort of manager in a ranking like Sir Matt Busby, what he had to go through, that's why it's hard putting him in a bracket. I think he's in a different, I know I didn't put him in my top 3, but you look at it and you think, why should you have to rate a man like him? You should already know he belongs in a different tier to managers. Like he should be in there. But like in terms of what he's done, he had to do everything from scratch as well. That's something that's hard to shape up. But I think the one thing that's testament to him was 2 things. One was a stroke of fate. And I'm not saying the stroke of fate because he survived Munich. No. The stroke of fate was World War II, meeting Jimmy Murphy. That's stroke of fate. And the other was Liverpool never gave him what he wanted. Stroke of fate twice. Those things never happened. You would never know. You would never know, really. And that's a testament to him as well, because he had all that in his mind. But it may never have been Man United. It may have been Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's one of the things as well. But it's always a case of you look at it from that angle and you just think, well, yeah, you look at the ifs and the buts and the maybes.
But the greatness is he was ours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was us. He was United. He was exceptionally special.
I think the best way to sum up Matt Busby, he's the best Man City player to manage United, and it's the best way to do it.
Yeah, they got Brian Kidd, we got Matt Busby. I know Brian Kidd didn't manage them, but you and the coaching stuff.
No one like him, and I think he belongs in a totally different. He may not be in my top 3 because I looked at it as an unbiased way, but just in terms of sheer ranking, he belongs in a tier beyond top 3s, top 10s. He belongs in a special category.
Mm-hmm.
That's another perspective, maybe, I don't know, but even so, he was absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Charlton, that's not even like Nippon, we're not even going to ask that question. Alan Shearer doesn't even get close to, and I'm going to say this on record, Alan Shearer doesn't even come close to a retired Bobby Charlton. Doesn't even come close. No. Bobby Charlton could have one leg, one glass eye, no hands, and he would still be better than prime Alan Shearer.
Yeah, Charlton was like, wow. I mean, you talk about like players, when you say about, you're born to play the game. I mean, wow. And listen, you know what? I also love and loved, because he's not here with us anymore, but Jack Charlton as well. I thought Jack Charlton was what he achieved in his career, especially with Ireland and everything else.
Oh, that Irish team.
That was sensational. I remember 1994.
John Aldridge.
Yeah, I remember 1994. Right. I tell you, that was unbelievable. Unbelievable, Ray Houghton.
100%. King Tony's mentioned probably the greatest Man United player that ever lived. Bobby Charlton's probably the most complete. Duncan Edwards was the Colossus. George Best, simply the best.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia. You know what? There's footage of Georgie Best. You watch Georgie Best, right? They'll kick him to death, but he'll bounce off. He'll take the kick, drag his leg up. They'll slide tackle him. He'll slide down, but he's like a gazelle. It's like he got springs in his ass. Bang! You know what I mean? They're still sliding on the floor. He's sprang back up. He's flicked the ball over him, and he's off. Mud flying up from his boots, and they're stuck in the mud. Like, what is going on here? And then,
you know what I managed to find the other day? I managed to find on YouTube his full debut for Ireland on YouTube. I managed to find it, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Georgie Best was like
phenomenal player.
You talk about players like Messi and Ronaldo and blah blah. There's this. Georgie Best was like, Pele, and there's this big debate still, isn't there, of who was the greatest. Pele. Was it Pele? Was it Best? Was it Eusebio?
Maradona, yeah.
Diego Maradona. You can look at them, but when you look at them players, Ronaldinho, the ball is like a separate part of their body. It's like a detached part of their body. It's like part of them in their their kind of psychic sort of thing. It's like because to do what they did with the ball is, you can't even comprehend it. Normal players, look at them and just think, forget it. You know what I mean? Not even going to try it. Forget it.
All right, Chris, how's it going?
We've got Chris here, my favourite Leicester fan. Hi, Chris. I hope you're well. I'll literally rephrase that. How the devil are you as well?
Yeah. Hopefully he's cleaned his shitty breeks. There's a Scottish word for you. Breeks. His shitty breeks. It's a Scottish word. It's a funny one.
What we'll do, we'll finish up here now anyway. Everyone, please go like and subscribe. I am doing a breast cancer awareness month. If you do want to donate to breast cancer now, the link is in the description. If I do hit £500, I will be doing a walk all the way to Old Trafford, 5 miles from my home, and also as well I will be giving a free football top away of your choice. And what as well, if for anyone who does not know, it is Secondary Breast Cancer Awareness Day, so that is when breast cancer does become uncurable. So that's for if anyone did not know that as well.
Yeah.
And it is National Mammogram Day on Friday as well. So what we'll do, we'll shout out everybody's socials and then we'll call it a day then. Talk, where can we find you?
Usual place on Twitter at Talk MU, on Man United Agenda, this channel, on Football United TV, and also big up respect to you, mates, for doing what you're doing with the breast cancer awareness, and because it does affect men as well. I don't think a lot of men realise that. A lot of men don't realise that it does affect men as well.
It does.
So it's a real problem, and I've got nothing but utmost respect for you for doing what you're going to do.
Thank you very much. Reece, where can we find you?
Well, in about 25 minutes, you can find me taking the piss out of Arsenal and Chelsea fans as they debate who's the biggest club in London on the weekly Armchair Sports Talk. And you can also find me on Twitter at Devils Rising. Quickly respond to a few comments that are absolutely genius. The first one from your dad's question: how much do you think George Best would be worth today? Just ask all the Miss World; they'd tell you. They tell you the exact amount.
You couldn't buy him.
It'd be 12 at 1. Nipping Bobby Charlton, yes, he would get in a great Man United players debate. That would be.
It'd be the first name
scandalous. It'd be scandalous not to put him in there. Tony, shitty breeks means shitty clothes. It's a Scottish word, just to let you know. And yes, I do agree with Fab regarding David Brooks. I heard about it today. I was absolutely disgusted by what he's having to go through. Disgusted because, frankly, he's such a young age. It's horrible for any human being.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got detected early, and I wish him a full recovery, and I hope he does make a full recovery. But yeah, weekly Armchair Sports Talk, Devils Rising. Anywhere with that name, you can honestly find me. I'm honestly no hard to find. I'm not hard to find because when the chaos is there, I'm usually the one that starts it.
That's a very true point as well. He always just cause the chaos. Yeah, I'll be back again on Friday at 8:30. I will be doing a preview for Man United versus Leicester. That'll be quite exciting, knowing that both Varane and Maguire is injured. But yes, let's go from there, and we will see you all Friday at 8:30 p.m. Goodbye, everyone.
Ka-chow.